Well, how are you able to, can you push more information, more broadband through these, the current wires that are out there for telephone? Is that possible?
You're coax, right? You're cable.
You talking about the copper in the ground?
Yes.
Depending on how far you out, I mean, for standard, say you want a 6 to 10 meg signal, I can push you 6 meg at a mile. At 5,000 feet, I can get you 6 to 10 meg. So that's for my, like my downtown CO, if you're, once again, I have Wyoming, Chisago, Minnesota. If you're North Branch, or if you're within a mile, CenturyLink can probably provide that, you know, give you a 10 meg signal a mile out. So you're kind of covering the downtown area. You go 2 miles out, you're probably looking at 3 to 4 meg max on that same cable. If you go 3 miles out, you're looking at 2 meg. Now you have to start putting repeaters in and other things along the way, or different D-slams, remote D-slams, in order to take your signals and boost them, but that's the cost of building new equipment in. You wind up having to build it, power it, so you're paying the electric company monthly for your power out there. A typical build for a location that would service 48, I'll say 96 people, is about $100,000.
I'm just thinking if there's, if we look at that, is there a bare minimum of service that we would like to have on a state level basis to get everyone established? I mean, granted, it's not the perfect, but at least it gets everybody connected to a certain level.
Who absorbs the cost?
Well, exactly. You know, again, Tom, I think this comes down to infrastructure and more
Well,
like
there's
just cost. Who's going to help pay for it?
Well, there's the
Bonding or
cost
what?
of it, and then there's the other things. You've got the cable company, you got the local phone company, you got municipalities jumping into it. Where does the government, the state, come into it? Because if you go into a situation like that where a city or municipality or the state is going to go in and fund it, where are they going to fund? If they're funding the municipality, now you've got government competing against local industry. So you wind up with a problem there.
Yeah,
And,
I'm not for that, but I think that, you know, if we look at even from a funding standpoint, and I was told by somebody, I'm not going to mention the company, but they just said they walked away because they had free money and it just wasn't worth it. Yeah, it just wasn't worth it.
No, we've seen that happen as well. Some of the CAF funding and whatnot, yeah, we were given certain levels of CAF funding for certain projects that we as a company walked away from last year. They said what you're giving us this doesn't make it profitable. We can't make it profit.
In your eyes, then, what do you think what do you see that's viable from a company standpoint that would make this work?
I can't answer that question. There's so many variables depending on where you are and what you're talking about. If you're in Minneapolis and you're talking, you have 2,000 customers per square mile, I don't need any CAF funding. When you're out in Elmwood and you have 2 customers per square mile, it's going to take a lot. And there's all those, everything in between. How do you take and figure out how much money you need per, I mean, you're looking at a per person head count per mile, all this other stuff. What equipment are you going to build? Where are you going to put it? Where are you going to place it? Who are you going to be able to service? Do I want to put a piece of equipment out that's going to serve 40 people at the cost of $100,000 when I'm making $19.99 a month? That's pretty tough.
Say, Bob, if you could speak, I really enjoyed this exchange.